Jack Benny foresaw a tragic end when he kept his true gender secret. Jack Benny was born Benjamin Kabelski on February 14, 1894, in Chicago, Illinois, grew up in a modest, Jewish immigrant family in nearby Waukegan. From a young age, Benny demonstrated an affinity for music, particularly the violin. His parents, who hoped their son would become a violin virtuoso, enrolled him in lessons. However, Benny found that while he enjoyed playing the instrument, he had an even greater knack for making people laugh. His first forays into entertainment came during high school, where he performed in local shows and vaudeville circuits, combining his musical talents with comedic timing. By his late teens, Benny was already a seasoned vaudeville performer. While his violin playing was adequate, his ability to ad-lib and inject humor into his performances quickly became his signature. As vaudeville was the premier entertainment form of the early 20th century, Benny honed his skills in front of live audiences, perfecting a style of comedy that blended wit, timing, and a deadpan delivery. Jack Benny's big break came with the rise of radio in the 1930s. In 1932, he made his debut on the medium that would define his career. Radio allowed Benny to craft a unique comedic persona, which differed from his live vaudeville performances. While many of his contemporaries relied on fast-paced, slapstick comedy, Benny's radio show developed a more sophisticated, slower style. His character on the Jack Benny program was a fictionalized version of himself, a miserly, egotistical, and perpetually 39-year-old man with questionable violin skills. This persona played to perfection against a cast of memorable supporting characters, including his real-life wife, Mary Livingstone, Eddie Rochester Anderson as his quick-witted valet, and announcer Don Wilson. The show's format revolved around Benny's comedic exchanges with his ensemble cast, as well as running gags that persisted for years. Benny's mastery of the comedic pause, where he would allow silence to draw out the humor in a situation, set him apart from other radio comedians of his era. One of his most famous bits involved a mugger demanding, "Your money or your life," followed by Benny's long pause before replying, "I'm thinking it over." This slow burn comedy became his trademark. Although radio was Benny's primary domain, his success soon extended to both film and television. In the 1940s, Benny starred in several films, including the classic comedy To Be or Not to Be, 1942, where he played a Polish actor caught in a plot against the Nazis during World War II. His film career, however, never reached the heights of his radio success, in part because Benny's comedic style thrived in the more intimate, verbal medium of radio, where his timing and pauses could take full effect. With the advent of television, Benny adapted his radio show format to the small screen, launching the Jack Benny program on TV in 1950. The show became a hit, running for over a decade and transitioning seamlessly from radio. Benny's comic persona, already familiar to radio audiences, continued to thrive on television, where his trademark mannerisms, such as his famous expression of mock indignation, a hand to his cheek, and a slow burn stare, were perfectly suited for the visual medium. Television allowed Benny to further develop his interplay with his supporting cast, which now included visual gags and physical comedy that complemented his well-known verbal wit. His pioneering efforts in television comedy set the stage for future sitcoms, and Benny is often credited with shaping the format that later became standard in American television comedy. Jack Benny's influence on comedy is difficult to overstate. His groundbreaking approach to character-driven humor and his use of silence as a comedic tool have been emulated by countless comedians, from Johnny Carson to Jerry Seinfeld. One of Benny's greatest contributions to comedy was his willingness to play the straight man in his own show. Although the Jack Benny program was centered around him, Benny often allowed the supporting cast to deliver the punchlines at his expense. He was unafraid to be the butt of the joke, which endeared him to audiences and created a more dynamic, ensemble-driven form of comedy. This generosity in sharing the spotlight helped revolutionize the sitcom format. Benny's use of running gags, such as his stinginess, his terrible violin playing, and his eternal age of 39, also became staples of modern television comedy. Many sitcoms that followed adopted the idea of recurring jokes or catchphrases that built over time to create a deeper comedic payoff for loyal audiences. The story of Jack Benny, a comedic genius revered by millions, took an unexpected turn with rumors surrounding his gender identity and his tragic foresight of an unfortunate end. Born Benjamin Kubelski on February 14, 1894, in Chicago, Benny became a symbol of American comedy, captivating audiences through his unique blend of deadpan humor, impeccable timing, and self-deprecating jokes. However, whispers about his personal life, particularly regarding his true gender identity, have lingered in some narratives, suggesting a life filled with hidden struggles beneath his public persona. On February 24, 1927, Jack Benny married Sadie Marks, a salesgirl from the May Company department store in Los Angeles. Sadie, who later became known by her stage name, Mary Livingstone, played an integral role in Benny's life, both on and off stage. As his wife, she was a central figure in his personal world, but she also became a comedic partner, joining Benny's radio show and providing a humorous counterpoint to his famously miserly and exasperated persona. The couple's chemistry extended to their on-air banter, making them a beloved duo in American entertainment. Sadie's transformation into Mary Livingstone gave her a platform that allowed her to evolve from being merely Jack Benny's wife to becoming an integral part of the comedy world. However, beneath the laughter and the showbiz success, rumors began to circulate that Benny's marriage to Sadie was more about symbolism than genuine romantic love. Some speculate that Jack Benny's marriage to Sadie Marks was, in part, a symbolic gesture, masking deeper truths about his gender identity. According to these theories, Benny may have struggled with his sense of identity in a society that was far less accepting of gender fluidity or non-traditional gender expressions. For someone in the public eye, especially a performer like Benny, the expectations to conform to traditional gender norms would have been immense. That Jack Benny's illness was tied to the stress of concealing his true self further deepens the narrative of inner conflict. While some may dismiss such speculation as unsubstantiated, it reflects a broader conversation about how cultural icons often carried hidden burdens. Benny's choice to keep any gender-related struggle a secret, if, in fact, this is true, could have been a product of the time, as the public's view of masculinity, gender roles, and societal expectations were rigidly defined. Benny's onstage persona as a penny-pinching, perpetually 39-year-old bachelor was both a comedic device and possibly a reflection of the complexity of his private life. In 1934, Jack Benny and Sadie, Mary Livingstone, adopted a daughter, Joan Naomi. The adoption raised further questions about the couple's marriage, as adoption was often viewed as a decision made by couples unable to conceive naturally. However, it also demonstrated Benny's deep commitment to family. Joan's upbringing in the Benny household was steeped in show business, but as with many Hollywood families, their home life was often subject to public scrutiny. The adoption of Joan may have been part of the public face of Jack Benny's life, further fueling the speculation that his marriage and family were a constructed image to divert attention from his personal identity struggles. Jack Benny foresaw a tragic end when he kept his true gender a secret. He married his wife just for the sake of symbolism. How true that is, we are still looking for a source. However, from our perspective, Jack Benny lives up to his gender identity, and his illness is no exception. In the final years of his life, Jack Benny's health began to deteriorate, leading to his diagnosis of pancreatic cancer in late 1974. The tragic irony here is that Benny, a man who brought joy and laughter to countless fans, faced a devastating illness that ultimately claimed his life. According to some narratives, Benny may have foreseen a tragic end if his true gender identity were ever revealed, but in reality, it was cancer that led to his untimely death on December 26, 1974, at the age of 80. The sadness of his passing was felt deeply by fans and colleagues alike, as Benny had become a beloved figure whose wit transcended generations. He was interred in a crypt at Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery in Culver City, California, a resting place that is home to many other entertainment legends. The rumors about Jack Benny's true gender identity and the secret struggles he may have carried to his grave are part of the complex legacy he left behind. Whether or not these rumors hold any truth, what remains clear is that Jack Benny's contributions to comedy and entertainment are immeasurable. His wit, charm, and revolutionary approach to humor left an indelible mark on American culture, and his ability to navigate both public life and private struggles, whatever they may have been, speaks to the strength of his character.